Alright, hello guys, and welcome to the fifth video of my experience with Nest and how I used it to learn how to code mobile applications without learning how to code, basically. So, not tech, yeah. So I didn't learn how to code, but learn how to develop a mobile application without code on this Nest platform. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be discussing how to, well, I'm going to be showing you and discussing how to create the menu form. And the menu form is a layered form, so meaning that it's a form that comes on top of another, and the menu form is able to be opened at any time in any of these in multiple forms. So it's very important because it has all the navigation of, you can navigate through the application with this menu form. And as you can see, um, in this form we'll be using a lot of the list item component, and the list item component will be used a lot because it is the navigation form for the application. So it'll have things like business ad and personal ad and notifications and messages, stuff like that. So basically, it is for the user, it is the most used form, and it could be confusing when trying to take this into a when trying to look at this as a form, because it just seems like a pop-up menu, but it is a form. It's just layered on top of the other forms, so that it can come out at any time, because you will be using it a lot throughout this application. But when when I was looking at the application and I was going through it before I started making JOB24, and before I even knew how development worked, I was just thinking, I was thinking that that this is a pop-up menu, and then that there might be a component for pop-up menu, but that was not the case. And the menu pop-up menu is actually a form in itself. It's just layered on top. Okay, so right now we have the link back and button one and scroll panel and all that stuff. So we decided to get rid of the list item because we need the scroll panel because there's going to be multiple options, and the scroll panel is under the any panel. And as you can see, we are going to be using multiple panels in this one, just as before, because we want that clean organization of the item selection or the menu selections. So we want to give each one its own panel. And you can see me organize the panels in the outline instead of clicking and dragging. I find that to be a lot more convenient. And once I did it for one of them in the scroll panel, then I just copy and paste it. And so basically I made multiple copies of it in the scroll panel instead of continuously adding new panels and putting it in under the scroll panel, the outline. Okay, so the menu form will consist of multiple options, like I said before, and it's going to need lots of events because each option is going to take you to another form. And so each one is going to each option is going to have an event that has specified that, hey, if you click on this, if the user clicks on this, then then show up another form. That's the event that it needs. And that's the basic event that we've been using many times. And again, guys, if you can't follow along, just pause and play. Just pause and play, or pause, rewind, play, whatever. Because I can't really go over the inner workings of this, code-wise and all that stuff in detail, because I don't know how to code. Okay. And as you can see, unlike the other forms, since this is a layered form, it won't be taking up the entire page of the form. So the other form, layered form, means that it's going to come on top of one form, but you're going to see the other form that it came on top of in the back. So the menu form, which is the layered form, is going to come to the front when you click on the menu, and it's going to be not the full screen size. So you can see that from the shaded gray area, that's where the back form is going to be, and you'll be able to see it. And then the white and the picture area, that's the menu form, that's the pop-up layered form. And we'll be adding an image here because users, they probably want some customization and to be able to upload their own picture or profile account pictures or account images to identify themselves with a certain image. Okay, we'll be using also the style class that we took from the sample job application. And the style class, like I said before, I just found it in the sample job application, and then you take the file from there and put it into I put it into my new project file, so I have easy access to it. And also along with the images and background images and all that stuff that you guys have been seeing if you've been watching my other videos. And keep in mind to always label all your components. It really helps, because like the components that matter, like the label and the label email and all that stuff, because you're going to have to go back and insert in the events after you organize how the form is going to be layered, and organized and outlined and all that stuff. Okay, and now we're editing the components in the form, in the layered form, in the menu form. And right now we're just doing the margins. And this is all the stuff that you've seen before. And let me explain it one more time. Margins it gives you a spacing between the left and the right. So it creates like a ending and a start to that component. Or it makes it so the image doesn't overlap off the component, I guess, or off the form. And the padding is the same as the margin, except for it's for the top and bottom. Okay, since there's an image in the back, we're adjusting the text color so it's visible, and we're making it white in this case. And you gotta keep those kind of things in mind. You can't just be using the same colored text and the same colored background. You gotta make things visible and easily noticeable and all that. And the label name, label email, that's the user's name and the user's email, or account name, user's account name and user's email, just so that users know when they're opening in the application, they go to the menu, they know they're on the correct, they know they are on the correct account and that it isn't someone else's account or something like that. Okay, so we'll be adding panels, more panels to the scroll panel, because that's where all the information is going to be held, all the links to the different types of forms that we're going to be using. And as you can see, we're using the outline again to organize where all the panels are going to be. Okay, each panel is going to be holding a label, and the label are going to be holding the links that have an event, or not like URL links, but links between the forms. Each label, the text, the label itself is going to be a link, and because of the event, that's going to show the other forms, or direct the transfer from the menu to other forms. And we're going to have to adjust the properties of that so it's easier for everything to fit in, so we don't have to scroll so much or something like that. If we left everything in normal text and normal text size, then it's going to take up a lot more space than it should. So considering this is the menu form, it's layered, and it comes on top of another form, and as long as you can make the text visible and clickable, so there's enough space between each text and all that, then it'll be good. So just adjust when you're making an application. Just if you're making a layered form like this and it happens to be a menu, then adjust the label, text size, and panel size to get the desired dimensions you want, so that all your options are clearly visible. And if you feel that it's too small and you have to make it bigger, it is a scroll panel, so you're going to have that option of virtually creating more space, because you can always scroll down and up, but it's a lot easier if you don't really have to scroll as much. If the item list is extremely long and you have to scroll for a while to get to whatever option, if users have to scroll for a while to get to whatever option they're looking for, then it's not going to be very I don't think users would enjoy that very much. Less work is a lot better than for such simple things on the user's part. Users don't want to they're not using an application to do more work, they're using it to make their lives more convenient. At least that's what I think about what mobile applications are. Mobile applications, I think, are there to achieve convenience, offer a solution, and obviously be mobile, so you can just take your work with you or take whatever you have to do with you, instead of being glued to a desk and using a computer to find the information you want to find. So I feel that mobile applications are so popular because it allows people to not be committed to one space, and they're able to do their things while they achieve. So they're able to basically multitask, or at least get through their tasks faster, because there's no time in between, like between tasks to idle time. Basically, there's no idle time. Okay, we're adjusting the panels, and like I said before, the panels width and bottom length and height and all that stuff, so that it doesn't go over the layered form, since the layered form does not surpass. The layered form is only a fraction of the application page. It is a page in itself, but size-wise, it is a fraction of the other pages of the application, because it has to make that effect where it comes on top of another page of the application. Okay, and now since we have multiple panels already set in place and we have the labels, we should going to have to adjust the panel, finish adjusting the panels, and in the meantime let me explain to you what the menu form was. The menu form the menu form is a layered form, and you can pick this out to be a layered form in the project sitemap. It isn't like other forms where it has its own page, but layered form comes on top of another page, but it's a lot more accessible in multiple areas of the application, because it's just you can have it pop up and then you can close it and have that option available. Right now, as you can see, I just put in the list view component. The list view component allows you to list multiple options, and I'm trying to do that so that it's going into the right parts of the layered form. Okay, and this can sometimes prove to be difficult because it's a little hard dragging the component and putting in the right place in this the UI window, because it's not that accurate. I feel like it's not accurate enough. And right now, as you can see, since I put in the list view or list item, in this case, since we put in the list item component from a while back, we're just putting in the options, the beginning options, and we're showing that we just typed in that this is the home page, and just to give it a label, and so users know where they're at, and they don't think that they know when we address something in future patches or something like that, or well, I'm not the developer, but that so that users would know in the future if there were like patches or changes that in the list that the home page was changed somehow. The users would know that this is the home page. Right now, I'm putting in the skin and item. Under the skin, there's an item render. I'm not really too sure about this property. I just copied what was available, or what is said on the JOB24 sample application. So I can't really help you out there. It just seems like a little bit of coding was done when making this application, which I think is acceptable, since if components are already like pre-built, so that if components are already pre-built, so with the coding already inside, then it'll just be a lot easier. Coding as in even the item render, even a small part. And I think that'll be possible with Nest. I think someone will be developing that. And as you saw just now, I just copied and pasted, or made copies of the first option that I wrote down, so that I can easily just change the text. And that's a huge thing, I feel. I don't know much about developing, but I think that when developers are making the application and they have to change the text of a component and change it, tweak it around a little bit, it's a lot easier to do that on Nest. So I think that's why Nest will be even popular with developers. and obviously popular with non-developers because they don't know how to they don't know how to develop code. So, but they do know how to click buttons, and like me, like I know how to click buttons and change the text value that's assigned to it. So right now we're just making a long list of options, and as you can see, I'm putting in the options, and you can see that there's nearby jobs, nearby employees, narrowed search, and general search, and all the things that are all the forms that will be commonly used, and that's why the menu form or the home form, or however you want to call it. I like to call it the menu layered form because it's a menu form and it's layered on top of other forms. That's why the menu layered form will be probably the most commonly used form because it has the navigation ability to get the user to whichever form they want to get to. And so since we copied and pasted, changing up all the text value that's on the menu, and this would be a good place to put in like the privacy and terms and conditions, so that when users are looking into or have some questions about the terms and conditions, it's in the menu form and they can easily just look it up and see what they agreed to when they made the application account. And it's also a good place to put out the sign out option, so when you're clicking around in the other forms you don't accidentally sign out. If you just leave it in the menu form and they have to actually scroll down and sign out, then there'll be less incidences where people are signing out when they're looking on the application and accidentally sign out, which could cause them a bit of frustration. And right now we're changing up the icons for each. Right now I'm changing up the icons for each of the options, and all this icon images there, it was already available on the JOB24 sample application, and so I just brought that over, and well, along with all the other images that we've been using so far. And so I just brought that over, and I'm just selecting the images, and these images are already all custom sized so that it easily fits in as the image, or it fulfills the requirement for images that are used on Nest. Okay, and the images are obviously things like that hint at what the function of the menu option is. So let's say if someone didn't know how to read any English or anything like that, then they would be able to know that by the icon images on the menu option, a slight general hint or general direction of what is actually these menu items are doing. And as I said before, this menu form is going to take a lot of events because each option is going to be taking the user to a different page of the application. So it's very simple application. I mean, very simple events, but it's just it's a good number of them. It's multiple, and so we'll probably be putting the workflow window to work. We'll probably be using the workflow window to make sure all the events are connected properly to the right pages of the application. And I haven't really decided if I want to set the events on the UI face or the workflow face, or workflow window or the UI window, because it's pretty easy using the workflow window, but the UI window it makes it so that I don't have to switch back and forth. And yeah, and I feel that I should get used to setting the events on the UI window because the function is there, and as long as you click click properly, you can set the correct events. And also sometimes when you're naming the labels, you might not be able to name it the way you want it to, because uh, it comes up not fulfilling the requirements of the ID label. And the reason I'm labeling the ID right now is so that when I'm going through and assigning the events, I can easily see from the ID what kind of event I should be assigning and what page, what form or page of the application this event should be taking the user to. It says like right now it says list item, and then I'm trying to put in narrowed search, and this will remind me, hey, when the event that is correlated with this list item the is the event that takes the user to the job search page of the narrowed search. So the narrowed search is the page where users' specifications or criteria for jobs is included to configure the search results or to obtain the search results. And the general search page, which we're doing right now, well, the general search page which we're doing right now is just a search page of whatever postings with very like 1 or 2 criterias. And the reason that there's 2 narrowed searches and 2 general searches and 2 nearby, well, 2 general searches, 2 narrow searches, and there's 1 nearby job and 1 nearby employee is because there's 2 types of accounts in Nest, and each one, well, one of them is going to be for the employer, and the other one's going to be for the employee. So one of the narrow search is going to be the employer, and the other one's going to be for the employee. So one person will be searching jobs, and the other person will be searching employees. So you have to make 2 and divide that, because you need to divide the results, because the employee doesn't want to see other employees. There would be no use for that. And there's nearby jobs and nearby employee and business ad and personal ads, and that's because there's 2 copies of each option, because there's 2 different kinds of accounts, and they're asking for different information from the data, different information or different data to be obtained. And right now I'm putting in an event for session 1 component. The session component, like I said before, it logs which user is using it. So if the user is an employer, the session component will know, hey, this one's an employer. So we need to do nearby employees instead of nearby jobs, and we need to search for employee accounts in the general and narrow search, and we need to be able to post business ads, not personal ads. And if it's the employee account, then the session will also recognize that, and pick all the other options, all the opposite options, like nearby jobs, search for jobs or businesses rather than employees, and be able to post personal ads. But both of those accounts have the privacy and terms and notifications, and account information, sign out button, the home button, those will all be the same. And developing the menu for the layered form is going to be a pretty long process, so I probably won't be finishing it in this one video, and I'll probably be dividing the video to 2 sections, because I mean who wants to look at an extremely long video on YouTube? And anyways, as you can see right now, all the events, I'm organizing all the events on the workflow, window, and the workflow window will basically allow you to see all the events that are going on in a visual map, through a visual map, so it's a lot easier to see if anything's incorrect and what you need to fix. And sometimes it can get a little hectic like this because there's so many events coming out of one component, and like in this case the session component, there's 5 events that are coming out, and that's also why we remember to label them all, because this way we know that, hey, these components, these list item components are for this purpose. And now we're changing all the events, and we're making it so that the correct event is addressed to the list item. And again, remember, like I said before in the previous video, that you need to be constantly saving and simulating. And simulating is important because you want to know if your application is progressing correctly, or if it's functioning correctly, if it's the right function. Because even if you feel that that event is what it does, the simulator will show you what it really does. That's the best thing you can have, well, to see how the user will see how the application, and how the user will see the user interface. And you can see the link back and session and all that stuff in the site also, and it just sometimes the workflow window gets to be a little overwhelming. And what else is the workflow? Okay, I think for this for this video, I think I won't be going over very much after this. I will be ending it soon now, because there's just a lot of information that has to be covered for the menu form, since it is a layered form and has a lot of events. So I'll be cutting this video, or cutting this section, designing the menu form, into 2. And so we will be continuing to finish how to make the menu form in the next video. And if like I said before, feel free to contact me at any time. I'll be happy to answer your questions if I can, with more details. And if you're having trouble with a certain part, just specify that in the email. Okay, thanks. Okay, I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.